So I'm not feeling so great today, but I know that I have to push it. I have to read the Bible every day, so I'm going to. And it's not that I don't want to read it. I mean, I have to push myself too. Sometimes I don't want to do things, but I know I have to. I have to drink more water too. I'm so in the horrible state of mind. You can see, I just feel lazy and I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to read the Bible. And I may not read it that long, but that's okay. I'm just glad I'm doing something. I'm just glad. Okay. Ceremonially clean and unclean animals. Since you are the people of the Lord your God, never cut yourselves or shave the hair above your foreheads in mourning for the dead. You've been set apart as holy to the Lord your God, and he has chosen you for all the nations of the earth to be his own special treasure. You must not eat any detestable animals that are ceremonially unclean. These animals are animals. You must eat the ox, the sheep, goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roe deer, the wild goat, the addax, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. You may eat any animal that has completely split hooves and choose the cud, but if the animal does not have both, it must not be eaten, so you must not eat the camel, the hare, or the hyrax. They chew the cud, but do not have split hooves, so they are ceremonially unclean for you, and you may not eat the pig. It has split hooves, but does not chew the cud, so it is ceremonially unclean for you. You may not eat the meat of these animals or even touch their carcasses. Of all the marine life, you must eat whatever has both fins and scales. You must not, however, eat marine animals that do not have both fins and scales. They are ceremonially unclean for you. You may eat any birds that is ceremonially unclean. These are the birds you may not eat: the griffin vulture, the bearded vulture, the black vulture, the kite, the falcon, buzzards of all kinds, ravens of all kinds, the eagle owl, the short-eared owl, the seagulls, hawks of any kind, the little owl, the great owl, the barn owl, the desert owl, the Egyptian vulture, the cormorant, the stork, herons of any kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. All winged insects that walk along the ground are ceremonially unclean for you and may not be eaten. But you may eat any winged bird or insect that is ceremonially clean. You must not eat anything that has died a natural death. You must give it to a foreigner living in your town, or you may sell it to a stranger, but do not eat it yourself, for you are set apart as holy to the Lord your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Okay, I need to get some water. I'm dying here. I'm gonna pause. Whew! You may eat any bird that is ceremonially clean. The desert owl, the Egyptian vulture, the cormorant, the stork, herons of any kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. These are stuff you can't have. The winged insects that walk along the ground are ceremonially unclean for you and may not be eaten, but you may eat any of the winged birds or insects that is ceremonially clean. It's embarrassing. You must not eat anything that has died or had a natural death. You must give it to I already said this. The giving of tithes. You must set aside a tithe of your crop, 1/10 of all the crops you have harvested each year. Bring this tithe to the designated place of worship, the place that the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored, and eat it there in his presence. This applies to your tithes of grain, new wine, olive oil, and the firstborn male of your flocks and herds. Doing this will teach you to always fear the Lord your God. Now, when the Lord your God blesses you with a good harvest, the place of worship he chooses for his name to be honored must be too far for you to bring the tithe. If so, you must sell the tithe portion of your crop and herd and put the money in a pouch and go to the place the Lord your God has chosen. Where you arrive, you must use the money to buy any kind of food you want: cattle, sheep, goat, wine, any other alcoholic drink. Then feast there in the presence of the Lord your God and celebrate with your household, and do not neglect the Levites in your town, and they will receive no allotment of the land among you. At the end of each year, bring the entire tithe of the year's harvest and store it in the nearest town. Give it to the Levites, who will receive no allotment of land among you, as well as to the foreigners living among you, the orphans and the widows in your town, so they can eat and be satisfied. Then the Lord your God will bless you in all your work. Release for debtors. At the end of every 7th year, you must cancel the debts of everyone who owes the money. This is how it must be done. Everyone must cancel the loans they have made to the fellow Israelites. They must not demand payment for their neighbors or relatives. The Lord's time has arrived. This release from debt, however, applies only to the fellow Israelites, not the foreigners living among you. There should be no poor among you, for the Lord your God has greatly blessed you in the land he has given you. You will receive this blessing if you are careful to obey the commands of the Lord your God that is giving you today. The Lord your God will bless you as he has promised you. Will lend money to many nations, but will never need to borrow. You will rule many nations, and they will not rule over you. But if there are any poor Israelites in your towns, when you arrive in the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted towards them. Instead, be generous and lend them whatever they need, and do not be mean-spirited and refuse someone a loan because the year for canceling debts is close at hand. If you refuse to make the loans and the needy person cries out to the Lord, you will be considered guilty of sin. Give generously to the poor, not grudgingly, for the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. There will always be some in the land who are poor. That is why I am commanding you to share freely with the poor and with other Israelites in need. I have some food for you. I just wanted to say God bless you. Oh, sorry. For a second, didn't think I was filming. Okay, release for Hebrew slaves. If a fellow Hebrew slave sells himself or herself to be your servant and serves you for 6 years, in the 7th year you must set that servant free. See, the servants chose to be servants. They weren't forced. See that? Slaves are different back then. In the Bible. Sorry, I just looked so crazy for a second. That was kind of weird. Okay, when you release a male servant, do not send him away with empty-handed. Give him a generous farewell gift from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. Share with him some of the bounty with which the Lord your God has blessed you. Remember that you were once slaves in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. This is why I'm giving you this command. And suppose your servants say, I will not leave you because he loves you and your family, and has done well with you. In that case, take an awl and push it through his earlobe in the door. After that, he will be your servant for life. And do the same to your female servant. You must not consider it hardship when you release your servants. Remember that 6 years they have given your service worth double wages of hired workers, and the Lord your God will bless you in all you do. Sacrificing firstborn male animals. You must set aside for the Lord your God all the firstborn males from your flock and herds. Do not use the firstborn of your herds to work your fields, and do not shear the firstborn of your flock. Instead, you and your family must eat these animals in the presence of the Lord your God each year at the place he chooses. But if the firstborn animal has any defects, such as lameness or blindness, or anything else is wrong with it, you must not sacrifice it to the Lord your God. Instead, use it for food, for your family in your hometown. Anyone, whether ceremonially clean or unclean, may eat it, just as anyone may eat a gazelle or deer, but you must not consume the blood. You must pour it over the ground like water. Passover and Festival of Unleavened Bread. In honor of the Lord your God, celebrate the Passover each year in the early spring in the month Abib, for that is the month in which the Lord your God, that was the month that your Lord your God set you out of Egypt by night. Brought you out of Egypt by night. Your Passover sacrifice may be either the flock or a herd, and it must be sacrificed to the Lord your God as the designated place of worship, the place he chooses for his name to be honored. Eat it with bread made without yeast. For 7 days the bread you eat must be made without yeast, as when you escaped from Egypt in such a hurry. Eat this bread, the bread of suffering, so that as long as you live you will remember the day you departed from Egypt. Let no yeast be found in the houses through your land for 7 days, and even when you sacrifice the Passover lamb on the evening of the first day, do not let any of the meat remain until the next morning. You may not sacrifice the Passover in giving any of the towns that the Lord your God is giving you. You must offer it only to the designated place of worship, the place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. Sacrifice it there in the evening as the sun goes down on the anniversary of your exodus from Egypt. Roast the lamb and eat it in place of the Lord your God chooses. Then you must go back to your tents the next morning. For the next 6 days you may not eat any bread made with yeast. On the 7th day proclaim another holy day in honor of the Lord your God, and no work must be done on that day. I'm sorry, but the Bible, no, I'm not sorry about anything, but the Bible does constantly repeat like the Passover of Festival of Unleavened Bread, just to show how important it is. So I'm not trying to down on its importance, but I already know what the Passover of Unleavened Bread is, and I just keep repeating it. And the point I'm trying to get at is I don't think I need to read it again. I understand the, how do I word this? Okay, I think the reason I'm feeling so crazy is because I was just crazy doing things all day. Like inside the house, I just felt stuck on my computer in the house, and I feel like I'm going crazy now. And as you can tell, there's like something in my eyes, like that just makes me look so, and I'm sorry. I just not feeling so good. Anyways, I kind of forgot what I was talking about, but I understand the importance of all these festivals that are repeated over and over again because the Lord God is very strict on them in that time period because it was the way to worship Him. You had to do these things in order to be saved from your sins, and also just to just always represent Him in your life by constantly following His strict rules, which I totally get that. But I have definitely spent many hours repeating the same thing over and over again, like the tabernacle and the Passover festival, and I just don't feel like I want to do that. So I'm gonna skip the Festival of Harvest because I've already said that, and I'm also gonna skip the Festival of Shelters. I understand the importance, so I will recognize that and tell you guys the passages that I'm skipping if you want to go back and see it, but it's basically the same thing I've already said many times before. Okay, so this is something new. Justice for the people. Actually, I have repeated stuff like this, but I think it's a little different. I'm not sure. Well, we'll just read to find out. It never hurts. I'm not gonna say, it doesn't hurt to read it again because it's always good to know the truth repeatedly, if that makes sense. Like, even if it's repeated. Okay, justice for the people. Appoint judges and officials for yourself from each of your tribes in the town the Lord your God is giving you. You must judge the people fairly. You must never twist justice or show partiality. Never accept a bribe, for bribes blind the eyes of the wise and corrupt the decisions of the godly. Let true justice prevail so you may live and occupy the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You must never set up a wooden Asherah pole beside the altar you built for the Lord your God, and never set up sacred pillars for your worship, for the Lord your God hates them. Never sacrifice sick or defective cattle, sheep, or goats to the Lord your God, for He detests such gifts. When you begin living in the towns of the Lord your God is giving you, a man or woman amongst you will do evil in the sight of the Lord your God and violate the covenant. For instance, they may serve other gods or worship the sun, the moon, or any of the stars, the forces of the heaven, which I strictly forbidden. When you hear about it, investigate the matter thoroughly. If it is true that the detestable thing has been done in Israel, then the man or woman that has committed such an evil act must be taken to the gates and of the town and be stoned to death. But never put a person to the death on the testimony or only one witness. There must be always 2 or 3 witnesses. The witnesses must throw the first stone, and then all the people may join in. In this way you will purge the evil from among you. Suppose a case arises in the local court, and it is too hard for you to decide, for instance, whether someone is guilty of murder or manslaughter, or a difficult lawsuit, or a case involving different kinds of assault. Take such legal cases to the place your Lord or God will choose, and present them to the Levite priests or the judges on duty at the time. Then you will hear the case and declare the verdict. You must carry out the verdict they announce and the sentence they prescribe at the place the Lord chooses. You must do exactly what they say, and after they have interpreted the law and declare their verdict, the sentence they impose will be fully executed. Do not modify it in a way, and anyone arrogant enough to reject the verdict of the Lord or of the priest who represents the Lord your God must die. In this way you will purge evil from Israel. Then everyone else will hear about it and be afraid to act so arrogantly. Guidelines for a king. You are about to enter the land the Lord your God is giving you. When you take it over and settle there, you may think, we should select a king to rule over us, just like other nations around us. If this happens, be sure to select as a king the man of the Lord your God chooses. You must appoint a fellow Israelite. He must not be a foreigner. The king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself or send his people to Egypt to buy horses, for the Lord has told you. You must never return to Egypt. The king must not take many wives for himself, because they will return his heart away from the Lord, and he must not accumulate large amounts of wealth in silver and gold for himself. When he sits on the throne as king, he must copy for himself this body of instruction on a scroll in the presence of the Levitical priests. He must always keep the copy with him and read it daily as long as he lives. That way he will learn to fear the Lord his God by obeying all the terms of these instructions and decrees. This is the regular reading will prevent him from becoming proud and acting as if he's above his fellow citizens. It'll also prevent him from turning away from these commands in the smallest way, and it will ensure that he and his descendants will reign for many generations in Israel. Gifts for the priests and Levites. Remember that the Levitical priests, that is, the whole of the tribe of Levi, will receive no allotment of land among other tribes in Israel. Instead, the priests and the Levites will eat from this special gift given to the Lord, for that is their share. They will have no land of their own among the Israelites. The Lord himself is their special possession, just as he promised them. These are the parts the priests may claim as their share from the cattle, sheep, and goat that the people bring as offering: the shoulder, the cheek, and the stomach. You must also give to the priests the first share of the grain and new wine and the olive oil, the wool for shearing time, for the Lord your God chose the tribe of Levi out of all your tribes to minister in the Lord's name forever. Suppose a Levite chooses to move from his town in Israel, wherever he is living, to the place the Lord chooses for worship. He may minister there in the name of the Lord his God, just like all his fellow Levites who are serving the Lord there. He may eat his share of the sacrifice and offerings, even if he also receives support from his family. A call to the holy living, which I'll start tomorrow. I did get a little bit more than I expected, so I'm happy about that. And I'm very tired, and I'm just like, I have no excuses for anything. I mean, I clearly am trying to make excuses for not reading more, but you know what? I'm stopping because I am, and yeah. Wait. Oh, everything that I say, praise the Lord. Sorry, I can't sing. I'm so bad and it's embarrassing. But before I leave you, I just wanted to show you a canvas that I'm making. And this is just the start. Just the start. Don't you worry. It says God's nature. I'm going to put like special coloring with my paint markers over it. And then I'm going to go outside, and guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to pick up some pieces of nature for reals. And right now I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you some of the stuff I pick. And I have an idea for the stuff I pick. I'm going to place them in my Bible book. So every time I every 100 pages or so, and I flip to it, then I'll take a piece of my nature and I'll put it on that board. And then I'll decorate it and write what the plant is. That way I can describe the stuff that the Lord has put on this earth. And it's amazing. So right now I'm outside, and I'm gonna pick up some pieces of beautiful nature, and then I'll show you real fast. Because I don't want to keep this video too long, especially because it's just my Bible video. But I do want to show some of the stuff that I'm doing in my life for the Lord.